Hey, what's going on everyone? In this quick video, I'm going to be explaining to you why wasabi is so expensive. And just before I get stuck in, if you want to see the full blog post on this particular topic, you can see the link down below in the video description, and I'll also pin it as the first comment, or alternatively, you can go to veryinformed.com. So getting stuck into the video, if you've gone shopping recently, you might have noticed that wasabi is insanely expensive. You have to pay such a huge amount for such a small portion of the product. So pretty much the main reason as to why it is expensive is that wasabi is a very difficult thing to grow, and it can also only be grown in certain environments, specifically in the Japanese mountainsides and also in other countries which require a lot of extra infrastructure to grow the particular roots. So there's 11 reasons in this article, so I'm just going to go through these really quickly. So the first one, which I just covered, is that wasabi grows in mountain regions, so it's very hard to grow, plant, and also harvest as well. And the next one is that outside of Japan, wasabi is nurtured in controlled environments. So as I briefly mentioned before, they have to actually grow the wasabi under huge tents, and they have to control the environment as well. So this all adds to the cost in growing the particular wasabi root. So this kind of goes on to the previous one. Growing wasabi in a commercial scale is a very huge challenge. There's a lot of staff, a lot of electricity, and a lot of land that you need. And step 4 is that wasabi is really susceptible to pests and diseases, much like other things that are grown such as bananas and apples. Wasabi is also very prone to pests, so this means it can destroy an entire crop. So moving on to point 5, and that is that the Japanese labor fees are extremely costly. If you are to look at the global scale, the amount that you have to pay someone in Japan for a simple labor job is extremely high, and this obviously reflects the price as well. And moving on to the 6th point, and this is that authentic wasabi farmers already have partners. So this means pretty much that wasabi farmers, or just farmers in general, are pretty much contracted to grow other, fruits and vegetables. So it's very difficult to find farmers that actually want to grow this, as they're already locked into other contracts. So moving on to point 7, and this is that wasabi needs special storage conditions. So in the growing, storing, and production phase of the root, wasabi needs really special attention along the whole system of production. So obviously this does add to the price as well. So moving on to point 8, and this is that wasabi can easily deteriorate. So this is very kind of similar to the previous point, is that if you leave wasabi out too long, then it will just deteriorate. It's just like any other fruit or vegetable out there. If you don't put it in its correct storage conditions, it will just start to go bad. And this is previous to the other point, and this wasabi spice is short-lived. So this is more specifically covering like that you have to put wasabi in its packaging extremely quickly, because if you leave it out in the air, it will go bad. So moving on to point 10, and this is that wasabi is in very high demand. So I'm not sure about you, but anytime I have sushi, I love to put wasabi on it. And since that it is such a difficult crop to grow, and there is such a high demand, then in the middle there's that kind of gap between how much they can actually supply and the extreme demand for the product as well. And lastly, of course, most wasabi comes from Japan. So if you're in Australia, America, the South Africa, or wherever it is in the world, it's just going to take a really long time for wasabi to come to you. And this means, the cost of exporting the product on ships, planes, and whatever it might be. So that's it, guys. That's 11 reasons why wasabi is so expensive. And again, if you do want to see the full article where I go into more detail, then please check the link down below in the description.